Hi, I'm Enid Karpeh-DIaz. I haven't seen many of you in quite some time. I think the last time that I spoke with you was maybe very briefly to thank you all for our seventh anniversary um, celebration. We were in Chicago, I think, at the time at the National Adult Daycare Association conference. Actually, spent most of my time working. Um, But that said, I really wanted to take the time to thank you all. Thank you, our members, for entrusting us with your care, and for your caregivers for allowing us to give you some peace of mind, I hope. Both Doris and I are caregivers, and we understand what the challenges are of particularly being a family member that's caring for a parent or a child. It's challenging, and it's heartfelt kind of work. And so I think that I just really, really wanted to thank you all on this day of thanks for coming to Centro de Amigos and for helping us to fulfill our dream. Most of the time, when I've come in the past to our anniversary celebrations, I've always told you that the reason why we started Centro de Amigos was for my mom. That my mom had dementia and she'd gone to a local senior center, and they just said that she was unruly and therefore, they really couldn't continue. However, obviously, the employees at that particular center didn't have any kind of dementia training and didn't understand that part of what my mother was experiencing in her singing loud and not really having a sense of just sort of how loud she was that when people, have dementia, sometimes their behaviors, a little sort of antisocial in certain sense. But that's the reason why you have social and medical daycare, because in this case, social adult daycare, the purpose of it is to be able to meet these kinds of challenges. When I was a kid, my mom always used to be singing in the morning while making our breakfast, and I'd wake up my sister and I and my brother and listening to the sound of my mom singing in the kitchen. So when she got kicked out of an adult daycare center for singing, I can't tell you how it broke my heart. It was just wrong. She was a proud Jamaican woman, and she just Jamaican American, and it was just breaking my heart to know that they would not be tolerant of someone singing. So that said, Doris and I really worked very hard to try to open a medical daycare center here in New Jersey, but I won't go into that whole saga. But the reason why, we really, really are there for you, Spanish speaking seniors in Haverstraw, in Rockland County, is because we know what it's like to be other. We know what it's like when you can't communicate what you would like to communicate. And that might be by virtue of language. It might be by virtue of some medical condition that doesn't allow you to communicate the way that you'd like to communicate. And so when we came to Haverstraw, it's not because we're trying to exclude people who speak English, but they have opportunities that people who don't speak English just simply don't have. So during COVID, that's when we really realized how difficult it was for this community to really get accurate information about what was going on. And I cannot thank the staff, both the former staff members and the current staff members, who really, really worked hard during COVID. They went to your houses, they knocked on your windows, they left, tissues, paper towels, uh, aspirin, groceries. They were there for you, and they were there for us. And so I want to thank each and every one of you, current employees and all of your former employees. Whether you were with us for a short period of time or not, you contributed to any success that we might have. You contributed to your community, and I thank you for that. It breaks my heart when I hear things like, you're stuck at home because if you come to the center, the home care agencies are going to take your hours. They can't do that. That's just not permissible. And threatening you and telling you you have to pay back money if you come to the center, that's illegal. They cannot take money from you. And if anyone does, please let us know. Okay? We will make sure that we report this to the proper authorities because it's wrong and I care for you. And so while we opened Centro de Amigos in March of 2015, my mom passed away in February of 2015. So I was not ever able to really have her come and experience Centro de Amigos the way that I'd hoped to. But if you look around the center, you'll see her picture. You'll see pictures of my aunts, who I also took care of because they didn't have children. And we go back and forth from New Jersey, New York to Philadelphia because, they were in their 90s and they were frail. And one of my aunts even, she got stuck in a bathroom for a few days because there was nobody around to know that she was stuck. Fortunately, after about 4 days, a friend called and couldn't reach her over time and came and opened her door and found her. And so, I'm with you today for all the people who are by themselves. It's tough to be by yourself. It's tough to be by yourself on any day. And so that's why we think it's really important for you to be able to come out, socialize, make new friends, and know that life continues. When my mom was diagnosed with dementia and my father called me, which was really hard for him to do, to say he needed help. And we needed to move them from Florida up to New Jersey where I live. And, I remember packing everything up. My parents were upper middle class. They'd saved their money. My mom was a pharmacist. My stepdad was president of a union. And, he was the first African-American president of the Transport Workers Union down at SEPTA, Local 234 in Philadelphia. So they were very, very proud people who saved their money and worked hard and really had very, very high standards for my brother, sister, and myself. And so I'm sorry, I don't mean to digress, but when I see your faces, when I go to the center, I'm doing this for her. You are sort of the recipients of all that I wanted to give from my mom. And as you can tell, we give it to Doris's mom because she attends the center. She's there. And it makes us really, really thrilled. So after my mom passed away, and my stepdad saw that we were really moving forward with this project. And I was so proud when he came to visit the center. Many of you met him before. And he was so proud of us. He's like, oh, it's so clean. They were a bit of clean freaks there, but we try to make it homey. We want you to know that, this is your home away from home. And my father's brother died May of last year, and he just fell into such an incredible depression. I'd never seen my father so depressed because there was a 20-year difference in their ages. So it was more like losing a child. And my father he just lost his spunk. He's lost his reason to live, in a sense. And so one day he took Ambien, and he didn't tell me. And we went out, and he had a hamburger with me, but he was really moving so slowly. It was really weird. Anyway, I dropped him at home, and I spoke to him every single day. So, the next day when I called, it was just a little like, oh, the furniture was moved around. And I'm like, this is weird. So I go to his apartment. He lived down the street from us. And so I said, Dad, what happened? And long story short, he'd fallen in the night. He hit his head, and then I had to take him to the hospital. So here began my last year of my dad being in and out of hospitals, um, and eventually we came to find out that he had a kidney failure. And so he went to a nursing home for a little bit of time, and then we had private home care, which, for those of you who have been in this situation, is ridiculously expensive. But in order to get my father the level of care that he needed, we had to spend down. And I think you understand that. That means, you have to spend down your money on certain things so that you can qualify for the care that you need, which is really a hard thing for someone to do. I mean, my parents saved all their money for so many years, and now I'm saying, Dad, in order for you to get the necessary care, we've got to spend the money that you have saved after working all your life. So, and also imagine the amount of trust that it takes for me to spend his money, for him to say, oh, Enid, it's okay. You can spend it on what you think it should be spent on. So that requires a lot of trust that I'm going to do the right thing. And I did. But, it's just so sad that you have to do that in order to get the fundamental things that you need. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. But anyway, I went through the spend down. I set up a qualified trust account in New Jersey first. Long story short, it wasn't set up correctly by the bank. So then I went to New York and went to the same bank. And fortunately, those people set it up correctly. But now months have gone by, and we've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on my father's care. And something just has to change. It's just criminal. So now when I hear things like, if you want to come to social day, we're going to cut your home care, that hurts right here in my heart. I take it personally because my mom's decline was directly connected to the fact she had nowhere to go. She forgot how to speak. There was no one to speak to. Well, she could speak to my father, but come on. It was like what we all experienced in COVID. Maybe there are two people in your life you were talking to for months and months and months. It gets a little boring, no matter how much you might love them. So there was, day after day, nothing to do, get up, watch a couple TV shows, get back in bed, get up, watch TV shows, get back in bed. So you lose your ability to talk, you lose your ability to walk, you lose your ability to interact with other people. And so it's just a really, really sad decline. And we all saw that when we came back from the COVID lockdown. And many of our members who were walking when they left were on canes when they returned. Those that were on canes were in wheelchairs when they returned. And those that were on wheelchairs whose families did not let them return, some of them passed away, and some of them are not in great shape. And our hearts break for that. They absolutely do. So Doris and I, take this business very personally because it is. It's personal to us. Your care is personal to us. Your well-being is personal to us because we've seen what happens when people are not taken care of. I was fortunate to be able to take care of my dad. It was an absolute honor to do so. And so we have a tradition in our table at Thanksgiving often where we write down the names of the people who've passed. And hold on, I just want to take a quick look here. The names of the people who have passed, and we write them down on our kind of craft paper, wishing that they were there, or even our friends who are out of town and we really wish that we saw them around our table, or our family members. And so this year, around the people who are not here around our Thanksgiving table but remain in our hearts are Nabor Pinero, Jose N. Martinez, Ana Luisa Martinez, Santini Roman, and unfortunately, my father. who passed away at 102 on May the 8th. And I'm going to miss him terribly. But I swore to him, as I did with my mother, that I will do everything in my power to ensure that you get the health care that you need, that you get the services with dignity that you deserve. And so, yeah, we get emotional, we get angry, because what we see happening in your community and often done to you by your people is criminal. It's got to stop. Let's make it stop today. Anytime you come to Centro de Amigos and anyone tells you you're going to lose hours, you let us know. Because it's not right, it's not fair, and you're not going to die on our dime because of that. You know, this is not a joke. This is your life. And we take it very, very seriously. So again, I thank you for trusting us. And we are a small business, Stars and I. And we've done a lot in terms of vaccine, and being involved in studies so that we can get you all more information that you deserve. I really appreciate the support of the County Office for Tourism. Thank you, Lucy, for last year or year before helping us get 16 of your caregivers trained as HHAs. We really want to do that again. I think that so many of you use the CDPAP program, the Consumer Directed Program. The unfortunate thing about that is, once the person that you're caring for, is deceased or perhaps goes into a nursing home, you're unemployed. And then when you look and you talk about your history, what have you done for the last 3 years? You've been sitting at home taking care of someone. You should get credit for that. And the only way to get credit for that is to get educated and to get the kind of skills you need, which means that you'll be next day ready to be put into the marketplace. So this is why we are also committed to two things. We want to make sure that we can get a grant to teach CDPAP caregivers basic first aid skills. We want to get you the PCA training, and then hopefully, escalating up to HHA. We really want to emphasize education because that's your key. The other key is we really have the continued free English classes, because without language skills, without the ability to speak English in the United States, you're not going to get as far as I know you can. And I also know that these classes are expensive. So we're working again to try to figure out a way to get a grant to ensure that nobody has to pay a dime who is motivated to learn English. So I'm just putting it out there into the universe. Don't know what's going to happen. But that said, we started a not-for-profit, Latino Family Connection, because Doris and I have been doing a lot of this work on our own dime, and I think it's time that we sort of spread the love, and we certainly want to do that. But we have lots of plans ahead, and I would really ask you to really start to support small businesses. Continue to support small businesses. We use the small bakeries here. We hire local. Every small business owner has a story. Like we have a story. And I know that the Friday after Thanksgiving is often, or is it the Saturday? Small Business Saturday, I think it is, where you go and you want to support small businesses in your community. So I would urge you to do that. Go to the local bakeries, go to the local restaurants, the bodegas. We need your support. We've been through a lot with the pandemic, and we're all just trying to come out and look at where we all are at this point in time. But again, I think I've overstayed my welcome here, but I do want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and for those of you who are spending Thanksgiving alone, I want you to know that Doris and I see you. We are there for you. I think you call us up, okay? 845-553-9777. Give us a call. See if there's any way that we can help you. And maybe if we can help you, maybe through our new not-for-profit, we can do something with you. But we're there for you. We care for you. We care for the community. And let me also say something else. It's not that we care only for Spanish-speaking people. We care for people who don't have access to information. And it's also a very personal story to me. I was born in Germany. And when I moved my family to the United States, no, my father was not in the military. My father was in medical school. My father was a doctor. And when I came here and I was in first grade, we would speak German at home. My mother wanted to keep that language alive for us, and had liverwurst and all that kind of stuff. And the kids at school would tease me, and one day I just really I lost it. I just got really angry, and I remember like taking this kid's raincoat and just like ripping it up because I was so angry because they would call me a kraut. Crazy thing, right? So it really stuck with me, being different and what it means to be different. Then I lived in France for a while. And then I realized in fact, it was Thanksgiving in France one year that, it's an American holiday. So you have to find other American people who are going to be celebrating with you. So my friends and I, all of which were super poor, we didn't have a table. So we just put a piece of cardboard down on a double bed and that became the table. And we had the best Thanksgiving ever. But that said, I know what it feels like to be other. And so I see the Hispanic community even though I'm not Hispanic. I see the Haitian community even though I'm not Haitian. I see the Polish community. I'm not Polish. I see the German community. I'm not German. I became a United States citizen in 1976. So I think that that's what we're trying to let you know. It's not that we're anti-English. It's that we're trying to meet people where they are and then bring them into the fold. But if you can't communicate with them, what can you do? I often think of a friend of mine's mom, Mrs. Belinsky. I loved her so much. She was Ukrainian, and I was in high school, and I wanted to speak to her. And I, learned a couple words here and there. But then when I was in college, I went ahead and I took Ukrainian in college so that I would be able to really have more of a conversation. By no means fluent, but I often think about her. She got sick and was in a nursing home, and I wondered, who was there to talk to her? Who spoke Ukrainian at this nursing home, in an area that was not necessarily full of Ukrainians? That broke my heart. That's why. It's for her, it's for my mom, it's for the little me that we have Central de Amigos for you. And we will do something else for everyone else. I promise. And with that said, have a very, very, very safe and happy Thanksgiving. And I thank you. Good night.